Imagine waking up each morning with a quiet, unshakable sense of purpose, a gentle certainty that your day holds meaning, not because it's filled with grand accomplishments or endless tasks, but because it's guided by something deeply, authentically you. In a world that feels like it's always racing forward, where notifications ping relentlessly, your to-do list seems to grow faster than you can check it off, and the pressure to keep up leaves you exhausted. This kind of clarity can feel like a fleeting dream. You're not alone in this struggle. So many of us are caught in the whirlwind of modern life, pulled in every direction by demands, distractions, and desires. We chase success, accumulate possessions, and pack our schedules, yet often find ourselves feeling empty, disconnected, or simply overwhelmed. The noise of consumerism, the weight of comparison, the anxiety of never having enough. These are the currents that sweep us away from ourselves. What if there's a simpler way? A path to a life that feels lighter, more intentional, and profoundly fulfilling. That's where the Japanese concept of Ikigai steps in, a timeless idea that acts like a compass, guiding you toward your passion and purpose, offering a quiet secret to living with meaning in a world that often feels chaotic. Let's begin by unpacking what Ikigai truly means. The word is a beautiful marriage of two Japanese terms, Iki, meaning life or living, and Gai, meaning value or worth. Together they form the reason for being, or what makes life worth living. But don't let the simplicity of the translation fool you. Ikigai isn't about chasing lofty, unattainable dreams or reshaping the world in a single bound. It's not about becoming a global icon, scaling Everest, or amassing wealth. It's quieter, more intimate, and deeply personal. It's the small, everyday moments that light a spark in your heart. The joy of brewing a perfect cup of coffee, the satisfaction of helping a friend solve a problem, the peace of tending to a garden. In Japan, Ikigai is often found in the ordinary, in the rituals and routines that ground us. It's about discovering what makes you feel alive and aligning your life with that energy, no matter how humble it may seem. Picture yourself in your current reality. Maybe you're rushing through your mornings, gulping coffee as you scramble to answer emails. Maybe you're scrolling through social media, caught in a cycle of comparison, wondering why your life doesn't look like the curated feeds you see. Perhaps your home is cluttered with things you thought would make you happy, clothes you rarely wear, gadgets gathering dust, mementos you can't bear to part with. Or maybe it's your mind that's cluttered, weighed down by worries about the future, financial pressures, or a nagging sense that you're not living up to your potential. You might feel like you're on a hamster wheel, running fast but going nowhere, chasing goals that society says matter, but leave you feeling hollow. This is where Ikigai offers a gentle pause, an invitation to step off that wheel and turn inward. It's not about dismantling your life or starting from scratch. It's about rediscovering what truly matters to you and building a life that reflects it. Why does Ikigai resonate so deeply in today's world? Because it's a balm for the overwhelm that defines so much of modern life. We live in an age of excess, too many choices, too many possessions, too many expectations. We're bombarded with messages that we need more to be happy: a bigger house, a flashier car, a fancier title, a flawless appearance. But more rarely equals better. Instead, it often leaves us trapped, weighed down by things we don't love, obligations we don't want, and dreams that aren't even ours. Ikigai challenges this mindset. It's about quality over quantity, about choosing what aligns with your heart and letting go of what doesn't. It's not about stripping your life bare in a rigid minimalist purge, though minimalism can be a powerful ally, but about creating a life that feels rich, intentional, and uniquely yours. It's about carving out space for joy, purpose, and connection, and saying no to the noise that drowns them out. To understand Ikigai more deeply, let's explore its core. Often, it's visualized as the intersection of four circles: what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Imagine a Venn diagram where these elements overlap, and in the center lies your Ikigai, the sweet spot where passion, skill, purpose, and practicality converge. For some, this might be a career, like a nurse who loves caring for others and finds meaning in easing suffering. For others, it might be a hobby, like knitting blankets for a local shelter, that brings joy and serves a need, even if it doesn't pay the bills. The beauty of Ikigai is its flexibility. It's not a one-size-fits-all formula. Your Ikigai is as unique as your fingerprint, shaped by your experiences, values, and dreams. Finding it starts with asking yourself some big, yet gentle questions. Let's try this together. What do you love to do? Think about the moments when time seems to dissolve, when you're so immersed in an activity that the world fades away. Maybe it's the rhythm of kneading dough for homemade bread, the thrill of solving a puzzle, or the calm of reading poetry under a tree. These moments are clues to your Ikigai. Now consider what you're good at, not necessarily what you're the best at, but the strengths you bring naturally. Are you a patient listener? A creative problem solver? A master at making people laugh? Next, reflect on what the world needs. This could be as global as environmental sustainability, or as local as being a supportive neighbor. Finally, think about what you can be paid for, not just in money, but in rewards like gratitude, connection, or personal growth. Maybe you love writing and are good at crafting stories. The world needs inspiration, and you could share your work through a blog or community group. Where these circles overlap, your Ikigai begins to take shape. This process can feel daunting. In a culture that glorifies hustle, productivity, and instant results, slowing down to reflect can feel like a luxury you can't afford. You might worry that your responsibilities, work, family, bills, leave no room for chasing purpose. Or maybe you're afraid you don't have an Ikigai, that you're too ordinary or too stuck to find it. But here's the truth. Everyone has an Ikigai. It's not reserved for the extraordinary or the free. It's woven into the fabric of who you are, waiting to be uncovered, and you don't need to upend your life to find it. This is where the Japanese concept of Kaizen, continuous improvement through small, intentional steps, becomes a powerful ally. Ikigai isn't about grand gestures. It's about small, consistent actions that align your life with what matters. Let's bring this to life with a story. Meet Sarah, a 35-year-old marketing manager who felt trapped in a cycle of stress. Her job paid well, but it left her drained. Her evenings spent scrolling online or impulse buying to feel better. Her apartment was cluttered with clothes she didn't wear and gadgets she didn't need, and she couldn't remember the last time she felt truly excited about her day. One evening, she stumbled across Ikigai in a podcast. Intrigued, she began journaling about what she loved: baking, storytelling, and connecting with people. She realized she was good at creating warm, welcoming experiences. Her friends always raved about her dinner parties. She also noticed a need in her community for connection, especially among new parents like herself. Slowly, Sarah started a small side project, a weekly baking group where parents could gather, share stories, and enjoy homemade treats. It wasn't her job, but it became her Ikigai. It gave her joy, used her strengths, met a need, and even brought in a little extra income when she started selling her baked goods. Most importantly, it made her feel alive, like she was living for something more than just getting through the day. Sarah's story shows how Ikigai can transform your perspective, even if your circumstances don't change overnight. It's not about quitting your job or moving to a mountain retreat, though if that's your Ikigai, follow it. It's about finding what lights you up and weaving it into your life, even in small ways. Maybe you can't leave your demanding job, but you can spend 10 minutes a day sketching if that's what you love. Maybe you're raising young kids, but you can share your love of music by singing with them. These small acts are like seeds, and with time, they grow into a life that feels more purposeful, less cluttered by distractions. Let's dive deeper into the benefits of living with Ikigai. Mentally, it brings clarity and focus. When you prioritize what truly matters, you stop wasting energy on things that don't. You might find yourself decluttering, not just your physical space, but your schedule, your relationships, even your thoughts. This aligns with danshari, the Japanese practice of letting go of what doesn't serve you to make room for what does. Imagine clearing out a closet stuffed with clothes you don't wear, or saying no to a commitment that drains you. Suddenly you have space to breathe, to create, to pursue what lights you up. Physically, this clarity can reduce stress and boost energy. Research shows that living with purpose lowers cortisol levels, improves sleep, and even strengthens your immune system. Emotionally, Ikigai fosters connection to yourself, to others, to the world. You start to see your life as part of a larger tapestry, which can be profoundly grounding. Spiritually, it offers a sense of harmony, a feeling that your actions align with your values. And practically, it can improve your finances by encouraging conscious consumption, buying less, but choosing better, focusing on quality over quantity. Contrast this with the alternative, a life driven by external pressures. Without Ikigai, you might chase goals that don't fulfill you, a promotion that demands 80-hour weeks, a lifestyle that requires constant spending to maintain, or a social media persona that feels like a performance. You might hold on to things, clothes, grudges, outdated dreams, because letting go feels harder than keeping them. This is where Ikigai intersects with Motainai, the Japanese principle of avoiding waste. Motainai teaches respect for resources, time, and energy. By focusing on your Ikigai, you naturally waste less. You choose experiences and possessions that add value, whether it's a well-made tool you use daily or a morning ritual that sets your day on the right path. You stop filling your life with things that don't matter, and you start cherishing what does. Let's explore another story to see how Ikigai works in a different context. Meet Hiroshi, a 68-year-old retiree in Okinawa, a region famous for its long-lived residents who often credit Ikigai for their vitality. Hiroshi spent his career as an accountant, a job he was good at but didn't love. After retiring, he felt adrift, like his days lacked purpose. His children were grown, his routine was empty, and he wondered what he was still here for. Then he rediscovered his childhood love of fishing. He began spending mornings by the sea, not just for the fish, but for the quiet connection to nature, the sound of waves, the feel of the breeze. He started sharing his catch with neighbors, sparking conversations and friendships. Over time, he realized his Ikigai was in these simple acts, being in nature, building community, providing for others. It wasn't glamorous, but it gave him a reason to get up each day, a sense of belonging and purpose. Hiroshi's story reminds us that Ikigai isn't tied to age, status, or ambition. It's available to everyone, at every stage of life, in the smallest moments. Now let's get practical. How do you start finding your Ikigai? Here's a roadmap to guide you, broken into manageable steps. First, carve out time for reflection. This doesn't mean hours of meditation. Start with 10 minutes a day, maybe during a quiet walk or before bed. Ask yourself, what makes me feel alive? What did I love as a child? What do others say I'm good at? Write down your answers, even if they feel scattered or incomplete. Don't judge them, just let them flow. Second, experiment. Try new things or revisit old passions. If you love photography, take your camera out for a 15-minute walk and capture what catches your eye. If you're curious about teaching, volunteer to coach a local youth group. These small experiments help you uncover what resonates. Third, connect with others. Talk to people who inspire you, a friend who radiates passion, a colleague who seems fulfilled. Ask them what drives them. Their stories can spark ideas for your own path. Fourth, simplify your life to make room for your Ikigai. This might mean decluttering your space, Danshari in action. Start with one drawer or shelf, or saying no to obligations that don't align with your values. Fifth, track your progress. Keep a journal to note what feels meaningful and what doesn't. Over time, you'll see patterns emerge. Finally, be patient. Finding your Ikigai is a journey, not a sprint. It's okay if it shifts over time. Your Ikigai at 25 might not be the same at 50, and that's part of the beauty. Let's address some challenges you might face because the path to Ikigai isn't always smooth. Self-doubt is a big one. You might wonder, what if I don't have an Ikigai? Or, what if I'm not special enough? Rest assured, your Ikigai isn't about being extraordinary. It's about being you. Everyone has something that lights them up. It's just a matter of uncovering it. Another challenge is time. If you're balancing a demanding job, parenting, or caregiving, finding space for reflection can feel impossible. Start small. 5 minutes of journaling while your coffee brews, or a quick mindfulness exercise during your commute. Another hurdle is fear of change. Letting go of familiar habits, possessions, or even identities can be daunting. Here, the Japanese concept of Wabi-Sabi, finding beauty in imperfection, can be a guide. Your Ikigai doesn't need to be perfect or fully formed. Embrace the messiness of the process, the trial and error, the moments of uncertainty. Finally, you might face external pressure, society's push to prioritize money, status, or productivity over meaning. Remind yourself that Ikigai isn't about rejecting practicality. It's about balancing it with purpose. You can still pay your bills while pursuing what makes you feel alive. Let's add one more story to deepen the picture. Meet Aisha, a 42-year-old single mother and graphic designer who felt overwhelmed by the demands of work and parenting. Her days were a blur of deadlines and diaper changes, leaving her little time to think about herself. She felt guilty even considering her own desires, as if they were selfish. But after reading about Ikigai, she decided to try something small. She loved drawing but hadn't touched her sketchbook in years. She started spending 15 minutes each evening sketching, often while her toddler napped. Those moments became her sanctuary, a space where she felt like herself again. She realized she was good at capturing emotions in her art, and she saw a need in her community for creative outlets. Aisha began offering free art workshops at her local library, teaching kids and adults to express themselves through drawing. It wasn't a career change, but it was her Ikigai, a source of joy, connection, and purpose that fit into her busy life. Aisha's story shows that Ikigai doesn't require a complete overhaul. It's about finding pockets of meaning, no matter how small. As you explore your Ikigai, consider how it connects to other Japanese philosophies that enhance its power. Kaizen encourages you to build toward it gradually, with small, consistent steps. Wabi-Sabi invites you to embrace imperfection, to see beauty in the rough edges of your journey. Motenai reminds you to value your time, energy, and resources, choosing what aligns with your purpose and letting go of what doesn't. Danshari supports you in decluttering your life, creating space for what truly matters. Together, these ideas form a framework for intentional living, where every choice reflects your values. You don't need to move to Japan or adopt a new culture to apply them. Whether you're in a bustling city, a quiet suburb, or a rural town, Ikigai is about listening to your heart and trusting that what lights you up is worth pursuing. Let's make this even more actionable with a few specific exercises. First, try the Joy Journal. For 1 week, spend 5 minutes each evening writing down 3 moments from your day that brought you joy, no matter how small. Maybe it was a kind word from a coworker, the smell of rain, or the satisfaction of finishing a task. Look for patterns. What activities, people, or places keep showing up? This is a clue to what you love. Second, do a strengths audit. Ask 3 people you trust, friends, family, colleagues, what they think you're good at. Their answers might surprise you and reveal strengths you overlook. Third, practice micro-experiments. Each week, try one small activity tied to something you're curious about. If you love nature, take a 10-minute walk and notice how it feels. If you're drawn to writing, jot down a short story. These experiments help you test what resonates without overwhelming your schedule. Fourth, try a Danshari challenge. Choose one area of your life, your closet, your desk, your calendar, and let go of one thing that doesn't serve you. Notice how it feels to create that space. Finally, reflect on impact. Write down one way you could make a difference, even in a small way, like helping a neighbor or volunteering an hour a month. These exercises are simple but powerful, building toward your Ikigai one step at a time. Let's address another modern struggle, the pressure to compare. Social media can make it feel like everyone else has found their purpose, their perfect life, their Ikigai. But comparison is a thief of joy. Your Ikigai isn't about measuring up to someone else's highlight reel. It's about honoring your unique path. If you find yourself stuck in comparison, try a digital detox, one evening a week without screens, spent doing something you love. Notice how it feels to focus on yourself instead of others' lives. Another struggle is financial anxiety, which can make Ikigai feel like a privilege for those with fewer worries. But Ikigai isn't about wealth, it's about meaning. If money is tight, your Ikigai might be in low-cost or free activities, like storytelling with your kids, gardening with seeds from a friend, or volunteering your skills. These acts don't require a big bank account, but they can fill your heart. As you move forward, let's talk about sustainability, not just for the planet, but for your own energy and well-being. Living with Ikigai is about pacing yourself, creating a life you can sustain without burning out. This ties to Matanai. Don't waste your energy on things that don't matter. If a commitment or habit drains you, ask, does this align with my Ikigai? If not, consider letting it go. This doesn't mean shirking responsibilities, but prioritizing what fuels you. For example, if your Ikigai involves creating, protect time for that. Creativity, even if it's just 20 minutes a week. Over time, these choices build a life that feels like a steady, flowing river, not a frantic sprint. Let's weave in one final story to ground this. Meet Elena, a 29-year-old teacher who felt disconnected from her work. She loved her students but was bogged down by administrative tasks and felt like she was just going through the motions. On a whim, she joined a community choir, something she'd loved in college but hadn't done in years. Singing rekindled her joy, and she realized she was good at harmonizing, both musically and emotionally. She had a knack for bringing people together. She saw a need in her school for creative outlets, so she started an after-school music club for students. It wasn't paid, but the gratitude from her. Students and the joy of singing became her Ikigai. It didn't replace her job, it enriched it, giving her a reason to show up with energy and purpose. Elena's story shows that Ikigai can be a complement to your existing life, a thread that weaves meaning into the everyday. So, what's your next step? Start today, right now. Grab a notebook or open a blank document and write down one thing you love, one thing you're good at, and one way you could make a difference, however small. Maybe you love gardening and could plant a few herbs to share with neighbors. Maybe you're great at listening and could call a friend who needs support. Maybe the world needs a little more beauty, and you can create it through a drawing, a poem, or a kind gesture. These small acts are the seeds of your Ikigai. Water them with attention and care, and watch them grow. As you embark on this journey, remember that Ikigai is a practice, not a destination. It's about showing up for yourself, day after day, with curiosity and courage. It's about choosing simplicity over chaos, meaning over distraction, and purpose over pressure. You don't need all the answers now. You don't need a perfect plan or a flawless life. What you need is already within you, a spark, a passion, a reason to be. Trust that spark. Nurture it. Let it guide you toward a life that feels lighter, fuller, and uniquely yours. You're not just living. You're crafting a life worth waking up for, a life where every day holds a quiet, beautiful purpose. And that, dear friend, is the secret of Ikigai.